Hey everyone, it's Naya Calderon at NWC Counseling, and I am coming to you live on Thursday to chat with you about just a lot of things that we chat about on Thursdays. But specifically for this month, I'm focusing not only on anger, but talking about how depression mixes with anger, which creates a lot of other different feelings. So just if you are watching this for the first time, I'm a mental health counselor, and every Thursday I'm hopping on to talk with you about a lot of things based on anger, but specifically each month I'll pretty much have a series where I'll break down how anger impacts other forms and other positions, jobs, lifestyles, careers, just a lot of different areas professionally as well as in our personal life. So how those things impact our ability to be parents, how they impact our personal emotions and how we behave towards other people that we care about, how we communicate our needs. So today we are talking about the series in April is April showers because that brings me flowers. But specifically today we're talking about depression. I really want to talk about what depression is and what it isn't, because sometimes it can get really confusing. You hear it used a lot. People say, I'm totally depressed, and gas was at 25 cents more down the street and I'm so depressed about it. And then sometimes people will say, I'm so depressed, this pinky nail broke off and I just got it done, and now I'm going to have to go get it redone. So there's different ways we hear the term depressed, but however, only certain things are actually diagnosed clinically depressed. And so I'm going to give you guys some brief things about what that looks like. Also, I'm going to let you know what we're going to talk about in the next upcoming Thursdays and how we're going to mix our depression or anger with other things and what type of emotion that creates. So I'll give you some of those examples in a minute. So let's talk about depression, okay? What it is and what it isn't, okay? So for depression, individuals feel generally really sad. And it's really hard to explain, but there isn't a reason sometimes why they even feel sad. And that's what's really hard for someone who doesn't have depression to understand, because it is kind of like being in a black hole and not sure why you're there. Like, everything is fine. Why do I feel so terrible? Another thing about it is that it also involves changes in our sleep and eating patterns. So we go from eating maybe 3 meals a day to only having 1 meal. We may also go from eating 3 meals a day healthy and suddenly eating a ton, or binging on food, or binging on alcohol, or binging in sex, or any kind of other unhealthy behaviors in excess, or not doing any healthy behaviors for ourselves. So sleeping, eating, those type of behaviors as well are really rooted in some of the main clinical things that we look at as professionals when we're working with people to diagnose them with depression. The next one is sometimes feeling unmotivated and tired. So it's kind of where we're having a hard time getting out of that black hole that I was saying about, and it lasts for a long time. So all the things that I said above, they can happen to anybody. However, when you are diagnosed with clinical depression, it's often something that lasts for a while that you really can't get out of. And a lot of it goes back to the balances of the chemicals in our brains, and that sometimes our brain is not making the correct or adequate amount of chemicals. So it's really important to understand that when people are clinically depressed, it's a lot different than just saying, oh, I'm so depressed, insert some type of negative event that just happened where, okay, feeling depressed, the emotion depressed is, what's expected. So that is going to be the 3 reasons, not 3 reasons, but the kind of to help people understand the indicators of what it is. Now, what is it not? Not having a bad day, that's not being depressed. Procrastinating is not depression. Not feeling like you want to wash the dishes one night, that's not depression. Also, perfectionism doesn't have to be depression as well. And lastly, being really moody. So, going up and down in your moods drastically does not always mean that you are depressed or, that type of behavior. So now what I want to share with you guys is what we're going to be looking at in this month, April showers, when we're talking about how adding anger and kind of like mixing anger and some other things together, how that creates some symptoms of depression or really just angry symptoms. So for example, when you're feeling sad already, and then you add your anger onto that, that actually equals frustration. So when we're already feeling sad and down about something and then we're angry, we tend to get frustrated, and that's what you kind of see in the behaviors. When we're not taking care of ourselves, so we have an unhealthy diet and we're not sleeping really well, so unhealthy diet plus poor sleep, we become really irritable. Like, we don't want anyone to talk to us, we're on edge, we're keyed up. Those are those type of symptoms that we tend to see. When we're feeling really unmotivated and we're feeling anger, we tend to feel really hopeless. When we don't know like where we want to go, when we're not sure about some of the things that we have to make, our decisions in our life, the people that we want to have in our life, what are we trying to do with our life, and we don't feel a push to move forward with that, and we're angry at the same time, we can often feel hopeless about the situation. We can also feel hopeless about our relationships and our decisions. And so each week I want to talk about each of these things. So when I talk about being sad and angry equals frustrated, that's going to be a separate week. And I'm going to break that down even more of what that looks like and how you can really tell if that's something that impacts you. Also, I want to kind of explain, like, what are some of the necessary steps that you can take to help overcome these things if there are things that you experience, okay? So looks like nobody is currently on and active, so I'm going to hop off, but I'm going to reshare this tonight when it's going to be popping and everyone's going to be chatting. So please make sure you drop some comments down for me. Just let me know what you think about this. Have you ever experienced any of these things? Do you think any of that is true? When you don't eat or when you're not sleeping well, do you find yourself being irritable? Put your responses below so that I can kind of know if we're on the same page or not. All right, guys, enjoy your Thursday. I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye.